George of the jungle, strong as he can be.
Well, the good news is that the mortgage business continues to become more and more automated, but along with that, it has also become much less personal. And because of that, there are three really important questions that need to get asked at an application and never do. Thanks for coming into thecreditjungle.com today. This is George Anderson, and this is something that's probably especially true with a first-time home buyer, but equally as true of somebody who's already lived in a home and they're getting ready to sell that home and then trade up. In other words, their needs have changed, they need a bigger home, or maybe they're empty nesters and it's time to trade down and they've never sold the home that they raised their family in. But anyway, the questions just real quickly are, the first one is how long do you intend to stay in this home? Okay. The second one is have you considered keeping this home as an investment property when the time comes to trade up or trade down? And then the third question is if you're selling your home, how long have you lived in it? So these are questions that are not on the loan application. Actually they are. The one is how long have you lived in the home, but nobody ever takes into consideration the capital gains. So we're going to cover that one last, but on the first question is how long do you intend to stay in the home? Well, first-time home buyers, are probably not going to be in the home for any more than maybe 3 to 7 years maximum. And what I let them know, and a good real estate agent also knows this as well, is that you might really be attracted to a geodesic dome house with an observatory stuck at the top of it out in the middle of 40 acres in the middle of nowhere. But if you intend on selling that home anytime soon, that is not the first home that you want to get into. Your first home really should be something that is easy to get in, easy to get out, kind of want it in the first-time home buyer range, because when the time comes to trade up, you don't want to find that you're stuck. The other consideration there is capital gains taxes, and that comes into play. Now, there's some proposals now as I'm recording this. This is May 6th of 2021, and there's a lot of chatter out there about some potential changes to capital gains taxes regarding real estate. So I'm not even going to speculate on that. We'll just wait until that comes, and if there actually is some legislation on that, then I'll do an update. But people need to understand the implications of capital gains if they're going to sell the home after living in it for less than 2 years. So those are things that I will discuss with them and explain the capital gains exemption as it is currently now and has been for decades, and what that could mean in the consequences of purchasing the next home, but also some things that you could do that you could also do that and yet mitigate some of the tax consequences. So that first question, again, that's an important one. How long do you intend on living in this home? So question number 2 is, have you considered keeping this home that you're buying right now maybe as an investment property when the time comes to trade up? And that's a really important one because, first of all, if they think that they might do that, we've talked about it in another video, before they can keep that home as a rental and purchase another one, they need to be in the current home that they're in for 12 months. Okay, there's some exceptions to the rule, transfers with work and, divorce. I mean, there's always exceptions when there's rules. But the thing to consider is if you're getting something like a Utah housing loan in the state of Utah, or if you're using some sort of a community block grant development loan, something like that, they have specific owner occupancy requirements that you would either be restricted from converting that house into a rental property, or if you had a grant program and you decided to convert it to a rental property, it would trigger a repayment of the grant. So if those are your intentions, then we want to exclude those loan programs from there. And again, that's not something you get asked in the application. And there are people who find this out after they got into the home because they were so excited to get free money for either down payment assistance or a grant or what have you. So again, we'll do another video that goes into capital gains and talks a little bit more about that. But then the third question is that if somebody has lived in the house for a certain length of time and they're selling it, there are some distinct advantages to keeping that property as an investment property and different types of structures on how you would keep that home. And I've actually personally done all three of either keeping it as a rental, selling it on a contract for deed, or selling it to somebody on an all-inclusive trust deed. or lease options as well. So those are all different types of seller financing, and each one of them has some pluses and a negative. And I'm not a real estate attorney, but I do refer people to who I feel is the most competent real estate attorney in the state of Utah for these types of matters. But I can certainly give them kind of the pluses and the minuses on how each of these transactions pans out. So there's other things to consider besides, where do you work, what's your credit score, what are your debt ratios, and how much money do you have to put down? Because all of those things are great, and frankly, you can go online, fill out an application, and you can go ahead and get your loan approved, and the person who's receiving that on the other end of it is going to put your loan in process, and they're never going to ask even one of these questions, nor are they going to help you understand the consequences of how your intentions and some of your future decisions might bear some consequences that might be painful down the road. So again, my job is to be a resource, and it's to develop a relationship and understand my clients and what they're doing, what their goals are, and be able to structure their financing so that it meets their needs. So anyway, thanks for coming into thecreditjungle.com today. This is George Anderson. I look forward to talking with you about your unique situation and answering your questions. Have a great day.